Hi, I'm Tracy Gould-Sheinin with Clarity Mediation, and I have with me today Jeannie Ward, who is a co-parent coach. Jeannie, thank you so much for being here. Please tell us what kind of work you do.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited that you asked me. I
Yeah.
am a co-parent coach, or in other words, a divorce coach who focuses on co-parents. So I get to work with parents, moms, or dads, usually separately, sometimes together, to
Okay.
help them with anything that they're struggling with in regards to the separation and divorce process, post
Mhm.
divorce, and that focus on their kids and the co parenting. So sometimes the focus is about how they're getting along with the kids, how the kids are managing the changes that are happening through the divorce. Sometimes it's how they're communicating with the ex and just the challenges that that can bring.
That's that sounds so invaluable. And I love that you work with folks individually and together, because I imagine if they are amicable enough and really work well together, but they need some support, that's a fantastic service for them. But more often, or very often, it's one person who's like, I got to make this better in our dynamic. So that's great that you do both.
Absolutely. And I think that either works really well, because what I find is that as soon as one person, one individual is able to start to change how they think, how they feel, and therefore how they behave, it
Mhm.
impacts everyone in their life. So everyone that they're engaging with. And you often, if not always, see those other relationships in their life improving as well, even when you're just working with that one person.
Neat. So it's like a ripple effect in their
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So
Yeah.
what do sessions look like with you? What does it look like to work together?
Yeah, so I do mainly two different approaches. And one is it's more of a self discovery approach where I ask the person to commit to 6 sessions. And we go through a kind of laying the foundation initially where I want to know, first of all, well, what's going on with you now? What's important? I think that people, when they're going through divorce, typically go through 5 steps or experiences when they go through that divorce process. My first experience that I talk to people about is sitting in the muck, is what I call it. And it's that beginning where the emotions are just really hard to manage, they're all over the place. Sometimes it's shock, a lot of times it's fear, there's anger, there's confusion and being overwhelmed. And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to honor that initially and let people just feel that and know it's okay, that all these feelings are okay. It's what you do with them. And then we will continue with that. So in the foundation, we talk about that. We also, in my self discovery session, we would then in the next session talk about their values, what's important to them, and how that's going to impact their parenting, how it's impacting the divorce and their working with their ex. Um, Also, their vision. What do they want to see? And for some parents, it is really just in the morning. For example, a parent may not be able to get themselves organized enough to get the lunches together for their kids
Yeah.
to go to school. So it might be focusing right there. Other people, it's going to be a little bit different where maybe they're further along in the process, their routine is back in place, but they're just still having really tough communications with the ex. And, the texts are getting really challenging and
Yeah.
high conflict. So that's another period. Some people are already at the point of, I want to date again, and I'm not sure how to do that or how to tell my kids that I'm going on a date, things like that. So we always want to look at what are they struggling with and where do they want to be? What are the goals? And then we fill in that gap of, okay, let's walk down the path together and figure out how you're going to get there. And so sometimes that means there's role playing that we'll do together. We'll just really dig deep and explore where their obstacles are and how they can overcome them. And all coming from the client that, what's going to work for them. in regards to
Mhm.
helping get through these obstacles. And then the last part for me that's hugely important is the recognizing and rewarding. So at the end, looking back and saying, when we first started talking and working together, where were you at? What were you doing? How did you feel? And how are you feeling now? Because
Yeah.
even session to session, there's progress, but especially when you look back at the whole thing. And I think everyone should definitely be proud of themselves and reward themselves for that. I do more focused. If it's just an issue at hand, we'll work on that as well. But I have both of those different options for people.
Oh, okay. So the longer process that you initially described, but then if there's something in particular somebody's struggling with, you can sort of zero in on that.
Yes, we can zero in on it with either approach. It's just with the self-discovery longer process, there will also be this foundational work being done.
Mhm.
And with each session, we're still going to talk about what's on top of their mind in that moment for that day. The other sessions where we're just looking at the issue at hand, then we're not doing all of the other exercises. We're just looking at that one issue that they're experiencing and want to discuss.
Cool. I see. So it can be custom fitted for where people are in their process and what they've got going on. Yeah. And so, what sort of background do you have, education or professional, that got you here?
Well, thank you for asking. It was a bit of a
Yeah,
roller coaster.
it
I
always is.
right, an exciting one though, as roller coasters can be. So I started my career getting a master's in forensic psychology, and then had the opportunity to work on Rikers Island with mentally ill
Wow.
inmates.
Wow.
And so did that up in New York City for many years, and then realized that because I can't be licensed at the master's level of psychology, that I wanted to be licensed for other opportunities. And so I went back for my social work degree,
Okay.
and then became a social worker and was doing more case management type work and moved into management, and then moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 2007, and actually started consulting with nonprofits. So I'd always been in nonprofits up until then, and then I started consulting with and for them. And I mainly focused on strategy. So the strategic planning for the
Okay.
nonprofit in
Yeah.
various areas. And then on the side, I was also helping individuals do personal strategy.
Mm.
And so I see a lot of how I bring much of that into my coaching,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially that personal strategy of that one-on-one of what do you want, where do you want to be, what are the obstacles, how do you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and what
Love
brought
that.
me to the coaching was my divorce happened about 7 years ago, and then I just in the past few years had some major losses in my family, and it just made me reevaluate my life and what was going on and where I was at and what I wanted to get out of life and give. And I wanted something really purposeful and meaningful to me. And my ex-husband and I have gotten to an amazing co-parenting space.
Oh, that's
And
great.
thank you. And it makes life so much easier for us as well as our son. And I would love for anyone who wants to go down that journey and get to that point to be able to.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really beautiful. And it makes it so the work you do so genuine, the growth that you and the twisty road that you took to get to where you are, mixed in with the personal experience, that really makes it very genuine. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. So if folks want to find you, if they are interested in co-parent coaching, either individually or together, how can they find you? Where can they find you?
Yes, thanks for asking. So my URL is www.parentingpostdivorce.com. And there they can find out all about me. They can dig in a little bit more if they want to learn about my background and what I bring to the coaching table, as well as the services that I provide. I also encourage anyone to reach out at any time via phone or text at 404-788-5563. And I do offer a complimentary consultation. It's usually about 20 to 30 minutes to see
Mhm.
if this is something that they want to engage in, and if we want to start working together. And then at that point, we'll make the decision. And if we decide to work together, then we'll talk about the different programs.
Great. Good, good. Thank you very much. I'm so glad that we connected and that we're able to get the word out there about this service. It is needed, and I think people will appreciate knowing about it.
Thank you, Tracy. I am too. And I
Yeah,
love that you do this. It's an amazing service and resource. Thank you.
sure. You're welcome. All right. Thanks, Jeannie.